Here we go, episode 12. We are here with Matt McMahon, one of Trilogy's own, one of the oldest friends of Brian and I. Matt, how we doing?
Doing well. As good as we can be. Hunkered down. How about you guys?
Also hunkered, just did a little outdoor clinic in my front yard with 12 Trilogy players and families, which was a lot of fun. It's April 10th and it was snowing, hailing, and sunny all at the same time. So some logistical challenges, but all in all, it went pretty well.
Are we calling Matt a friend of Trilogy's or a friend of like ours or friends of the program? Like friends? Like, are you like, does friend need to be defined here?
I was going just general friend because I didn't know Matt. I don't think I was involved, at least not on the club team side when he was on the team. So I'm just personal friend with Matt.
Oh, okay.
He's
Yeah,
also
I think there's
I know.
yeah, member of the Breakfast Club, Mitch Fitness. I think that the discrepancy lies between Mitch and Ryan. To Ryan, I'm just a patron to Trilogy. To Mitch, I'm a true friend.
I'm fine. I'll live with that. That's fine.
So Matt, where are you reporting live from right now?
I'm reporting live from a former home of a great Trilogy camp down in Bay Head, New Jersey. So my folks have a beach house down here, and my little sister and I decided to distance from them, keep them safe, and just hunker down here. So
And
quite the digs.
when did you decide to go with this goatee look? Is this
This was out of boredom. This was born earlier this week.
do you
It's good.
do you grow stuff on your
I do, yeah, but it's kind of works out because it's very like embarrassingly patchy on the sides. So
I wouldn't know anything about that.
yeah, I don't know what that is, Mitch.
Well, awesome. Well, Matt, hopefully, you know the deal. We get to watch some fun videos, and we've got all the way back to 2009, 2010 videos. We got some recent stuff, and then we'll hit you with some quick hit questions. But Ryan, I think you got to give a little background on the Matt McMahon Trilogy connection because it's pretty cool. I do think, and Matt, you can fill in as necessary when Ryan butchers it or tilts it in our favor.
Well, then I'll pass the baton.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have Matt explain it, and then I'll.
Okay, yeah, I'll happily. So it's kind of like I enjoy thinking back to like the beginning of my like journey with Trilogy because like a lot of my lacrosse career I feel like has been like a happy surprise at each step. So it was like I didn't really play club ball at all when I was younger. I played 3 sports and I loved all of them. So I didn't like the idea of like spending your summer just playing lacrosse or whatever. I like to play basketball and football. And so I never really got like deep into the club game until like borderline too late. I think it was like my sophomore year of high school and recruiting was like super ramped up back then. And so all of my buddies were like jockeying for positions for years on the like elite teams of all the New Jersey club programs that we don't have to name. But then I had to like make this decision. Do I like jump in with one of those programs with Trilogy? I didn't know anything about clubs. So I figured I'd just go to the tryouts and just get a feel for like what the people were like. And so I went to that Trilogy tryout and it was like, it was maybe like 90 minutes, but about like a half an hour in, I like knew these were my people and this is like the program that I wanted to be with based on one of the earlier drills, which like at that point, Ryan, you were at those tryouts. I think it was like Livingston High School or West Essex or something. And we're doing a drill. This is like super basic, and this is now becoming a really long story, but I like this.
That's the format. This is the format.
Yeah. And so we're doing like a basic drill. Like it's just one-on-ones from X just to like feel out kind of what the talent level is and try to identify the different kind of players. But I went up and approached somebody and like threw a stick check and took the ball away like immediately. And I was like pumped with myself. And Ryan was like, like, let's line that one up again, like same group. And so I go up and I do the same thing and take the ball off the kid. And I don't think the kid was very good, but I'm really like feeling myself at that point. And Ryan's like, okay, your approach is terrible. Like your stick is at your side. This is all wrong. And he's like, go back. We're redoing this rep again and put your stick out in front. And so I do the rep again and I do it my way the third time and take the ball off the kid. And Ryan like stops the whole thing, like gets tempers flaring a little bit, get to see the first that side of Ryan. And he's like, are you going to do this the right way? Or are you going to do it your way? I know your way works, but it won't work soon. So you should do it the right way. And then that like stuck out to me. I was
that was
like,
a pretty good Ryan Boyle impression without even trying. Even the inflection there was like spot on, RB.
it was the first like 0 to 60 switch that I saw with Ryan, which I've come to see many a time since then. But the point of the story is just like, I knew from that point on that like this was a program that was going to like teach me and not just care about like what schools were interested in me. And that was like, I don't know, that's something my dad's always preached, but just like, you're there to get better. Anytime you step on the field, you're trying to get better, and you're not like, you know, it's not about like which coaches are calling. I wanted to get actually coached, and that was what you guys preached at the time. And so I was like, I like these guys. I think I'll stick with them. And that ended up being such an awesome decision because I feel like my whole career is like being a constant development of my skills, and I've gotten better and better each way. And I think it's because I've like taken that approach where it's like, you know, I shouldn't do what works now. I should do what the best thing is. And that was kind of like my Trilogy experience. So that was a long-winded intro into how I got started with Trilogy.
You miss anything, Ryan? Was that accurate? All spot on?
Well, I just remember then shifting gears to the recruiting process. And I don't know if you want to get into this now.
Yeah, I mean, that in itself was a unique Trilogy experience as well. I was getting
what I have something. This is just, it ties in nicely to this.
Yeah.
Believe this should be it. Can you see the screen here?
Yeah. Oh, no.
So we can.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
We're 3 minutes.
Here we go. Now we can put a frame of reference around what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
What do we got here, Mitch?
We got Matt McMahon, Glen Ridge High School highlights. So you can keep talking here, but this is what we were working with.
It was a lot of raw potential and emphasis on the raw aspect. My high school self, there was a lot of limbs flying around.
There still aren't a lot of limbs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Oh, bone crusher.
I'm not getting anything.
Yeah, I'm not seeing this, Mitch.
Oh, you're not?
No. Did you just share your screen?
Sorry about that.
There we go.
Okay, now we're good. Do we have was there a intro song?
It's a good one. It's like a good. Yeah, is that who this is?
I don't even know.
Oh yeah.
You know how much like thought must have gone into that and still just picked a terrible song?
What? This is a block party. This is fantastic.
Block party. That's it. Oh, there's the crushing hit.
Oh.
Hold on a second. You slid your hands up like a canoe for this hit. That makes me upset.
It's high school. You get called for dropping a shoulder.
Oh yeah, that's a nice hit though. Look at this, just big.
Yeah, look at these.
It was a lot of erratic movements, but I don't know. Sometimes it worked.
So we'll let this run as you keep explaining the recruiting story.
Yeah. So, like, I think a lot of it had to do with like getting into, like, really focusing on lacrosse kind of later than a lot of my peers, but I didn't really get much interest at the Division I level for like a while into the recruiting process. And not to say like I was like that discouraged, but I just had kind of thought that my career might just end with high school and that would be fine. But I think, and I mean, like, Ryan, you can speak for yourself, but Ryan, like, encouraged me to kind of, like, believe in myself that I could play at the Division I level and that I should be getting recruited by these schools. And so I think I was like, the only one knocking on my door was really Coach Stagnita at Rutgers was like all over me. He was trying to keep me in Jersey, and I was thinking about that for a little bit. But I don't know. It wasn't much action on the recruiting trail. And then
this goalie's technique, real quick. This is it.
Yeah, this is New Jersey lacrosse at its finest.
That's unbelievable.
It's played in like somebody's backyard. This was our field.
Was this Glen Ridge's field? This literally looks like it's like in a neighborhood.
Yeah, it was like absolutely. Like, you can see if you go back a little bit, you can see they had to like replace whole sections. So if you pause it there, you can see like there's a whole section of the field that's like carved out, and they just like roll it out halfway through the season every year. It was really brutal. We're like one of the only high schools that don't have their own turf field.
Is it
probably never?
There's the patchwork.
Yeah, there you can
still. Is that still the home field for Glen Ridge High School?
No, they moved over to the wonderful Watsessing County field, which is like in one of the sketchier parts of Bloomfield. So that was always fun. You'd have like routine police chases go through the park around the field during practice. It was quite the like interruption.
Matt, how old are you?
Right now I'm 27.
27. So you're 27. So like when you were like getting recruited, you're like what, 16, 17 years old, right?
Yeah.
So Mitch, I'm like in my like mid 20s at this point. Because I'm 38 now. So Matt's like 16, 17. I'm in like my mid to late 20s. And so I'm like on, living in the city. I'm like on the phone. I like distinctly remember like having phone conversations with like college coaches on like, and then speaking with Matt. So Matt's like a high school, sophomore, junior. And he's like, this is like pre-office. So like every single person has like my like cell phone. So like, during the day I'm like making, decisions about rosters, and then parents are like texting me all night. Like, I can't believe you didn't do this, it did this, didn't do this. There was like one Glen Ridge dad. I remember like we ended up like, cutting his son, and it was like, well, he never like changed hands. He's like, his dad's like, well, Babe Ruth never had a left hand. Or I'm like, that's a different sport, sir. It's like, so I'm like dealing with that like during the day, and then like at night I'm like talking with college coaches, or during the day, and then Matt would be like, and then I talk to Matt, and Matt's like, well, so and so down the street's committed, and I'm like, I don't care like what happened to your buddy like down the street. Like, I'm talking with like Penn and Duke. Like Matt's like acting like no one was interested. And meanwhile, it's like,
well, at first that was the next phase of the story, was that nobody was, maybe, I don't know. We can have a debate, but I wasn't really getting much interest. And then I was like, Ryan, like, what's the deal? And you were like, hold on, let me call a couple people. And then all of a sudden,
who was at Penn when you were getting recruited? Who was the contact there?
Doc was the contact. That was great. That was a great story.
Doherty?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the connections just all coming full circle here. Doc was two episodes ago.
Doc
I gotta put that one on.
loved McMahon.
Yeah. Well, it was so awesome. It was like a fall tournament down at Rutgers, and Ryan called Doc and was like, you got to go, like, just go see this kid play. Like, I think you'll like him, yada, yada. And so Doc goes to like one of our games, and it just so happens to be like a game that is like later on in the tournament. And I don't know what compelled me to do this, but I like cut to the crease and caught a pass in my like strong hand, which was the wrong hand. And for the first time in my life, attempt a round the world shot. I've never even thrown a behind the back pass in a
This
game.
is at like a prospect day at Penn.
Full turn.
This was one of the Rutgers MVP tournaments in the fall.
Okay.
And so I like shoot that, and it like hits off the goalie's foot and goes out of bounds or something. And I remember thinking like, that was kind of cool, but there's absolutely nobody at this game. And sure enough, like the next day, Ryan calls me and is like, Doherty was at that game. He loves you. And so he then came to like a month later, he like came to one of our basketball games, Glen Ridge High School. And it was just like, it was such an awesome New Jersey basketball game in like a terrible, tiny arena that gets like really loud, big rivalry. And we like won the game or whatever. And Doc came over for chicken parm with my family afterward. And it was like the coolest, like, can you imagine a better recruiting experience than Brian Doherty coming to your house and hanging out with your family? And
I can't imagine a better Friday night than coming over and hanging out. Like,
yeah. And he's like rehashing every play of the game that we like just won. So I'm like the happiest guy in the world. He's like, that and one where you did the spin move, that was awesome.
Just true recruiter, just pumping your tires, getting you.
Yeah, it was a done deal after that game, I think.
So, by the way, real quick, whose dad is this? Because this guy, like, he's playing the game inside his clothes. Watch this guy. Not this one. Right after that, this guy, right here in the front and center. Like, he's fired up about your ground ball. Nice pass. He's ready to go. And he's leaning. He's getting the lean, ready for the. Oh, he's ready. He was ready for the celebration.
Tippy toes.
Any idea whose dad that was?
We had earlier, a couple clips ago, you had a real fired up dad. That was Troy Catalano's dad. I think he played linebacker in college, and he like coached us all throughout high school. But he was like your typical, right there on the left.
Right there with the polo shirt.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, exactly. You could tell he's a big guy. But
any of these Glen Ridge, so you went to Penn. Any other of your Glen Ridge teammates go on to play college lacrosse?
Yeah, so Troy played.
Cunningham was on the team. What a defense!
Yeah, we had Troy. We had
Jackson
John Winchell. What was that?
Jackson Kinley.
Jackson Kinley was a good player. He played at Michigan for a little bit.
Yep.
John Winchell was like an incredible defenseman at St. Joe's. He was like the NEC Player of the Year. We had a really like just weirdly underrated team. A lot of guys that played really well in college. Elijah Conti was midfielder at Delaware. He was like the captain of the team.
How far into your time at Penn did they, beat it into you not to throw this like sidearm? Everything I see is sidearm here. How long did it take before you got yelled at for throwing a sidearm pass?
That was done like week one. Coach Murphy was like, I'm going to throw up if I see you throw the ball like that again.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that noticed it. All right. So
yeah.
That's good.
My whole like passing and catching was forcefully changed when I got to school.
All right, let's fast forward to the good years. I shouldn't say the good years, the pro years. So this is one that I'll remember. You'll remember too. One of my favorite places to play. A young Matt McMahon coming down on a break. There it is, first career goal. You know what year that was?
2016, was it?
2016. Terry could have given more of an effort on that, I'll be honest.
See, I always look back at this clip, and feels like a gift from Mitch here. Mitch, are you on the point?
I'm like, you guys this is like a flat break. They were like, clear out, Matt McMahon's coming down. We know what's happening here.
Yeah, it was one of those where you like dared me to shoot, and I was like, well, I can't do anything else now. So
you're at 11 there. I feel that's like a fair, you shoot that probably at 9. So that's, you know.
Well, also rewind. Who is 45 here with his back turned to the ball, and he is just like electing not to just even regard anything that is resembling transition defense.
I'll tell you who it is. It's number 45. Who is that? I don't know who that is. It looks like a short stick.
It's like no, that's a football.
That's
It's
a
like
pole.
I'll tell you what. It's like Steele Stanwyck is not going to score. I don't care what happens, but my guy is not going to be involved in the stat sheet here.
I mean, Steele and Marcus are like next to each other, right? Someone I should have gone but whoever 45 is whoever that was needs to provide some support.
I don't know. Play like proper transition defense. Is that too hard to ask?
Any support to the
at the professional level, just an L break.
Well,
He's like, I'm gonna face guard Steele here. He's an outside threat.
Let's just shut off the wings and just allow Mitch to be the only guy that help here.
So
that was a nice tuck, though. Nice little tuck to the front. Kept it up.
Yeah, it was almost like
a sidearm throw, which was a big step forward already.
Mitch, this might make you feel a little bit better about allowing this goal.
It's tough. It's still tough.
But at this point with the machine, I was like kind of in and out of the lineup and wasn't was not a solidified member of the team. And this game is like a perfect example. I'm playing the backup LSM position, which Mitch, as you know, is like the very next person to not get dressed the next week. Like there is no job security as the backup LSM.
We're going to go with 4 pulls this week.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm getting like a couple runs a game and just trying to like make plays to get a little more sticky in the rotation. And so that game was like kind of on the fence. I like felt like I got to do something. Otherwise, I don't know if this is going to be my last chance to play or whatever. And so I score that goal. And I guess it was just like I hadn't played that much all year, but all of a sudden our head coach, Bear Davis, gets it in his mind that I'm like a scoring threat. And we need me in the lineup because I can offer some like pop and transition. And so so he came up to me after the game. He was like, I didn't know you could score like that. Like, I didn't know you were like a threat. And I was just like, everything in my head was just like, I am not a threat. But I was like, yeah, coach, like, you just got to give me a shot. Let me get out there.
So quick rewind. You went to Penn because you threw it around the world. You made it in a full-time lineup because you scored. You are truly the only reason you've made it this far is because of your offensive prowess.
Yeah, it's true.
That's pretty wild when you think about it.
Who was dressing it instead? Who was the lineup defensively?
It was Jackson Place, who was playing really well. Steve Waldeck, who was also, that was like a really good point in his career. And then Mike Noon was playing down low. And Mike,
that's right. He's a good player, man.
Mike Noon, famous for the hit heard around the world.
Oh, the helmet.
Can we pull that up?
I gotta see if I can find it. He hit someone, their helmet exploded or something.
He hit Paul Rabel on like the most egregious late hit.
Let's see if I can find it. Oh, here's a lot of.
And the Lacrosse
Starting pole.
It was Brian Karalunas.
Karalunas.
Yeah, not really gonna dethrone him.
Yeah, you're the backup pole there. That's that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
All right, so let's get.
And we had Scotty Raj and Cage.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. So Noon is number 30. Rotates up to Rabel.
Oh boy.
Takes a big hard dive after he gets stuck.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the best part of the whole clip.
Oh
so he crushes Paul, hands up and everything. Then he gets like lightly brushed and just completely flops.
Westervelt just touches it. Oh, Rabel chucks his stick about a mile.
Yeah. This was all time. This game
I thought about this until you brought this up.
Also,
Oh,
fun fact about this
it's
game.
just stick too. It's not even a shoulder hit. That's just stick. And
The sell on the brush afterward is my favorite part.
Yeah, he deserved to get run at. This is kind of a chicken move here, just to collapse. That's kind of that's a hard one to.
Yeah, it kind of discredits the whole.
Yeah.
Fun little MLL fact about this game. We get back into the locker. It's like a big game that we win to get into the playoffs. We're all fired up. We get back into the locker room and realize that the event staff never locked the door to the locker room, and we got robbed at halftime.
Oh,
the best part is being robbed at halftime was an earlier theme on the Trilogy Lacrosse Theater 2020 for Ryan, like a decade before that. So
who hasn't gotten robbed?
It's a recurring problem.
Yes.
MLL.
Yeah, you need to go high school style and take a valuables bag out to the sideline.
Yeah, well, the best part was like you knew it was.
Fox used to do that. You would come with a bag that you throw your cell phone and your stuff in.
Yes. Fox.
The best part was like you knew it was these Long Island like junior high kids who robbed us because none of the valuables were taken, only lacrosse equipment. It was incredible.
So, okay, so this was, you scored your first goal and you said 16 or 17?
Yeah, 16.
Noon gets run out of the league because he almost decapitates.
Yeah, he did. He got suspended the next year.
And so then you kind of make your way into the starting lineup, stay as a close defenseman, right? Or did you play full most? You played pretty much close from then on, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
They learned he couldn't score any. They're like,
they were like, yeah, you just stay on this side of the midfield line.
And then fast forward, Defensive Player of the Year nominee.
Wow. I forgot about these little clips.
It's an all-star game in Houston, Texas. Remember that? It was about 1,000,000 degrees there.
We played in Sacramento. Do you remember that? It was also 110 degrees.
What was this? Because there was some Texas thing. I remember one year there was in Houston. It was hot as all blazes.
Oh, this is for the championship. It was because the championship was in Dallas that year.
That's a nice little slice of pizza there. Look at the range. Did you grow in college, or were you this height in high school?
I think a little bit, like maybe like an inch or so.
Yeah. But you just learned how to use your range, and you use that.
His arms grew. His body didn't grow. He didn't grow in height. His arms grew an inch each.
I think I got strong enough to like control where my arms and legs were going, and then that was the turning point.
This next clip, good physical defense, but I think you might have gotten topside and scored here.
I did. Yeah, I was actually kind of bummed with. This was such a classic MLL. There's 3 clips in a season of like my best plays ever. They picked 3 clips, and one of them I got scored on. Another one, I lose the ball in another one where I knock the ball down. I go to pick it up, and I lose it, and it goes out of bounds.
Don't worry. In Mitch's NLL highlight clip, it was him getting beat, but the goalie saves it. And then another clip was him shooting, but the goalie saves the shot. But apparently the shot was enough of a highlight.
Also a clip of me throwing a behind-the-back pass that went to no one, but it didn't show the person that missed the pass in the screen. So
I could actually get behind that. That's it.
But the fact that you got beat for a goal, it's like, let's just clip it right here.
Yeah.
It's
like peak. Like you could just see the person like looking for Matt McMahon highlights in MLL film footage, and they're just like, this one's good enough.
Now, Matt, were you still part of the crew that was? So that's John Rainey again there. This is a breakfast club right here.
Okay, so explain, Mitch, for those that are uninformed, that the Breakfast Club, which I wasn't a part of. I never got invited.
It doesn't really fit your lifestyle, Ryan. I think your whole.
What is the Breakfast Club, and who are members?
Look at this. 10 degrees Fahrenheit. That was the coldest. That was like they were like we scheduled this like months in advance.
That was the best part. Yeah.
So we would work out once a week, and it was a crew of like we had a good crew. Or we sometimes we do that twice a week, or we pretty much stuck to that Wednesday morning, right?
Yeah, crank it up every once in a while.
But it was a crew of like John Ranigan, Michael Earhart, basically anyone who got good over the last 2 years, 3 years that they came
Yeah,
to.
Jackson, Jordy Wolf.
Yes.
It was true though. It was like hard to stay in shape in New York, and it was like you can only like go for a run on the west side like so many times, and that doesn't really like get you in lacrosse shape.
It was like there's this psychopath that's holding these things on Wednesday mornings,
And they're free.
and they're
Well, it started with me and Dave Madera and Craig Bunker.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to the financial district, because I was in Brooklyn, and then when I moved to the financial district, we got Wolf involved, we got McMahon involved, and we got Earhart involved, and Ranigan, and then it just kept growing. There were days when we had 10, 12 guys out there, and
yeah, it's big again, Mitch.
I know, I got to get out there for one.
Yeah. Oh, Brian Feeney, that's a tough one. I think that was his first and last Breakfast Club.
He came to two.
Yeah, it was so funny to get. So you had these guys that were playing in the league, and so they were like doing this because they had to stay in shape. And then you had every once in a while, like one of our friends would hear about it, and they'd be like, former Division I college player, like I'm still in shape, like they're working out and stuff, and they'd be like, I'll come. I could do this. I could keep up. And like we would have a steady rotation of like one new person every week, and they would never come back again.
My favorite by far. What were those
the
guys?
Kreins brothers.
Oh my God, the Kreins brothers. They were like
there's no comparison.
They were like fresh out of college. We were doing like change of direction drills, and they were just smoking everyone. They were like so in shape, so fast, so quick. But they hadn't really worked out as much. And we went for like 45 minutes to an hour, and like they were killing people. But then by the end, I think both of them puked. They were like so done, and they never came back.
Yeah, they didn't even answer a text after that. They were like, not again. Nope.
I know a lot of guys. I mean, I've talked to Earhart about this, and he like credits like
100%.
I mean,
Skinny Mike.
Yeah. What's that again?
Skinny Mike was born from Mitch Fitness.
I mean, between championships, all world MVPs, like I think
players of the years.
It was like, Mitch, you provided the blueprint. It's like, this is, if you want to do this and have a long career, like this is how you have longevity. It's like you have to like have this level of commitment.
Well, for me, it was just like so much fun because it was everyone pushing each other. It was like a good group of guys and girls, and we had some girls there that were awesome. Like Sarah McMahon, she was all time, and she would go harder than pretty much every guy there, and she still is crushing it. But we had just an awesome crew, and I'm glad to hear that it's still going, even though it makes me a little sad and jealous that I miss it out here in the burbs.
Yeah, it's definitely watered down now, Mitch.
We'll have to do a Zoom version. Is no one throwing up anymore?
It's been a while since anybody's puked. It's now run by Earhart, and to his credit, like none of us could run it. But that's great with Jackson's dry cleaning hanging up on the fence.
Yeah, Jackson Place used to bring like a full suit. He'd like show up in like loafers and then change into cleats and then put the loafers back on.
Kevin Cunningham came a few times.
We got to get Cunny on the TLT 2020. He'd be great.
Yeah. He would be great.
My favorite was Dave Madeira. Like he was like going to them, and I just remember looking at Dave just befuddled, and I was like, Dave, like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm training. And I'm like, for what? Like just in a Machiavellian, like, what is your end game? Like, what is? And it's like, well, ski season's coming up, and I was like, okay, like. I guess I can get behind. I mean, Dave's the best.
Dave's just got that engine. He needs to be like working towards something.
But I just remember looking at him just totally different. Like, just like I just couldn't comprehend what Dave's end game was. Like, what are you doing? It's like training.
That was how I got roped in. Was I ran into Dave on the street, and he was like, "What are you doing tomorrow morning?" And I was like, I'm sleeping and waking up at a normal time. And he was like, you got to come to this, you got to come to to this breakfast club and do all this stuff with Mitch.
Speaking of sleeping and waking up at a certain time, Mitch, I got this curious text message in relation to this. I'm just going to read you the contents. As I say, this is Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. So he's trying to get this in
before midnight.
Before midnight.
Did you set an alarm at 11:59? Like, all right, I got to make sure I do this before.
No, I realized at 11:59 and I sent the fastest text message I could write.
You still up by chance? Question mark. I mean, of course I was, but
I knew you were. You were just not going to acknowledge it.
No, I'm not going to reinforce that it's fine to text me at 11:59. Hey, you still up by chance? Like that.
You're a night owl. I figured maybe you're working, maybe you're.
Yeah, so I was like, how do I was like, no, this is not like. Anywho.
Yeah, it's okay.
Respond.
The next morning.
Got it.
Yeah.
I was with a really chastising tone.
Well, I will say this, Matt, and I maybe Ryan guilted you into it, but we rescheduled this from yesterday, and you did send me a nice text being like, hey, I know this is probably a pain to reschedule between what you've got going on at home and the working from home with kids. So I don't know if that was on your own or Ryan guilted you into oh, this is going to be real tough between Mitch working from home. He's got 2 kids. I got a kid. So I don't know. I think he laid it on. That text, I was like, oh, this guy actually thinks about other people. That's really nice.
Okay, good. Mission accomplished. Then.
If you want to talk about, guilt-ridden, interactions, then it would be the LaxCon 2019.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go back
That
there.
one was really painful.
I thought we all blocked that one out.
Yeah. Let's pull up that tweet. That would be a good
one.
one.
God. I thought there was a chance we'd make it through this without it.
Do you want to show him making a save first? Would you prefer?
Yeah, let's go to save, and then we can try to wrap. We're gonna skip that. We're gonna
maybe we'll just wrap.
We'll let sleeping dogs lie there.
All right. We're all bigger people. We'll move on to this. This great save of his.
Being selfless. We're turning a new page. He's being selfless, jumping in net, sacrificing the body. Although, is that ball past you, or you just say? Did you actually save it?
It hit off of Drew Adams, and then it hit my foot. So I do get too much credit for the first save, I think.
Goal line extended. Kavanaugh ducks away from a hit. McNeil still got a piece of him. Kavanaugh, Perkovic from 2, and it's stopped by Adams, and he's able to basket, gets the rebound, but lost it left.
Wow.
The goal open, and it was blocked by
the second one.
He got it again. Amazing.
That's by far my favorite part of the whole thing.
We gotta go one more time.
Perkovic from 2, and it's stopped by Adams, and he's able to basket.
Ryan's got the best sound effects.
Open, and it was blocked by McMahon. He got it again. Amazing.
You definitely got it with the scarecrow though, right?
Yeah. Oh, that one hit me right in the chest.
We did a replay, and I pointed out the scarecrow technique.
I didn't. It was pure instinct. I was just like, I need to take up as much room as I can.
We do those all the time at Breakfast Club. You can admit it. That was like club enders.
Just like a lat raise.
Is it me, or this past season of the PLL? I feel like there was more guys jumping in behind goalies and sacrificing their body. I mean, I've called games for I don't know how many years, albeit pretty much at the collegiate level, but I can never remember as a player guys jumping behind the goalie this past summer. It was frequent. I never saw it.
Glacini did every one of them other than those 2.
Yeah, the Glacini stuff freaks me out. He's stepping in front of step downs.
Yeah.
My strategy is if I'm covering somebody at X and the player with the ball is 3 yards away from the goal, I'm going to hop. I can't do anything to stop him, so I'm just going to take up space in the back of the cage, and the shot is from 5 yards away, so it's not going to be 90 miles an hour. But Glacini is stepping in front of 100-mile-an-hour step downs like it's no problem. It's actually
nail guys, man.
Dude, like the goalies, was Drew thanks, or like don't?
I talked to them about it. They got punched. So like I always felt like I wanted to do that in college. Like when you're in that spot, Mitch, like if your guy is like parked on the end line, like if you're covering like an X dodging attackman, he's not like an Eric Law type that's gonna like swing around the front and try to get like a back pipe feed. Then the guy has just got his heels on the end line, and you're kind of like helpless because you can't really help adjacent. You got to stay close enough to go out and approach him. But at the same time, like, what are you doing to like stop the play? And so I started doing like runouts and stuff, but that like takes you out of position, and people don't really miss that much in the pros, so it doesn't really help at all. So I felt like in college I was like, I kind of want to like, I think I could like stop the ball. Like I can see it. It's right there. Like these goalies aren't like magical. Like anybody can like get 10%. So I started doing it in college, and Brian Feeney, who was the failed member of the Breakfast Club.
One of the fallen soldiers.
Yeah, he would freak out at me because he was like big time mental goalie, and he would be like, "This is my goal. Like, don't get in the way." Like all this stuff. And then I did it in training camp this year with Gittleman in cage, and he thought it was like hilarious and awesome. And I think I stopped one. I got hit in the leg, and I thought it was amazing. And he was like, he thought he was looking for the ball in the back of the net because it went past him and it had rebounded out. And he was like, "What the hell was that?" And I was like, "Oh, I was like, you get near pipe, I'll get far pipe, and we got it covered." And he was like, "That's awesome. Like, I'm so fired up about that." So I talked to him about it, and he was like, "Yeah, if you want to take far pipe, I'll take near pipe, and just stay out of my way. Like my right foot is going to be towards the crease, so just slide in behind me." And I was like, "Okay."
I like how detailed that discussion got. Like,
yeah, it was
2 to 3 steps forward. You make sure to be a half step behind. Anytime.
Gitz, he was like watching. I was asking him for pointers on my technique.
Well, you're a lefty too, and he's a righty, right?
Yeah.
Git's a righty, right?
So
yeah.
The World Games in 2006, I befriended members of the team Sweden, the coaching staff of Team Sweden. I was hanging out with them. I might have come away with a head-to-toe baby blue jumpsuit. Different story.
Yeah.
So they're matched up, like, oddly. I don't know how it like worked, but like they were going to play like Canada or maybe not Canada, but like some other like pretty good team in like not even a quarterfinal, like some early round. And the coach was like, "I'm trying to convince my guys." He's like, "There's no chance we're going to win, right?" He's like, "So we got to like this David Goliath unorthodox tactic." He goes, "I want to put in 2 guys in goal." He goes, "I want to have our goalie stand upright and have his stick and take all high shots. And I want to put somebody down crouched and take all low shots and then just play 5-on-6. So basically man down on defense, but 2 goalies."
Maybe it's not something.
Happened.
I mean, right? Like that's
Did they try it?
The team was like, "If we're gonna beat, so and so, we want to beat them like playing,
Not normal,
like, yeah." He was like, "I know. So,
and then they lost 26-4.
Yeah. Do you guys ever think about like? I love thinking about like stupid stuff like that, where it's like, what if you did this? Like, I've always thought when the ball's coming, if you're winning by 1 goal and the ball's coming down the field in transition, they have like a break. And there's like 10 seconds left. Like, what happens if the goalie just flips the goal upside down?
So Mitch has actually won some championships bending the rules. One of which was when we played against the Nationals, and we won the
bear hug tackle.
Bear hugged him.
Bear hug tackle. Why not?
I can't believe it doesn't happen more.
It
the
does.
Bear hug tackle. You might as well. Worst case, you're going to be man down. Best case, you win the game and win the championship.
There are some.
Were you were on the Cannons team that won on a 110-yard 2-pointer, right?
I guess I was. Brody Mayer was our last guest. We watched it. It was awesome.
That was amazing.
That's
one of my favorite like stupid endings to a game ever.
To be down by 2 and then win a game with 1.9 seconds left. Well, we were saying, the end of that game, the actual way we got the ball back, I think it might have been Wolf with the ball, and whoever had the ball, I pushed him square in the back, out of bounds. Brody and I were on the double, and I could not have hit him more cleanly in the back and pushed him out of bounds. And I remember being like, and they didn't blow the whistle. So I was like, all right, and so I grabbed the ball, and then Brody picked it up. Brody's like, I got this. It's like, all right, you got it. And yeah, the rest is history. All right.
What strategies are we going to see from the Archers? If you're going, well, does Drew Adams care if you hop in cage?
So I hadn't talked to Drew about it, and Drew wasn't playing in the beginning of the season when I was like starting to do it. But Drew was in net in that Redwoods game, which was like the first time it got noticed really that I was like doing this, because I wasn't saving many before that, but I was trying. Yeah. So Drew was in cage on that one, and as the ball goes back, I'd never talked to him about it, but when the ball goes back upfield, like, he's not a very excitable guy. He was the most excited I've ever seen him. And I love doing it because the goalie is always so confused. They're just like, how did the ball not go in the net? Like, they're so conditioned to think if it's past them, it's a goal.
An excited Drew Adams it's an awesome. I love a fired up Drew Adams. All right, we're gonna go to the speed round here because we're the Belial family. I can hear the music going on downstairs. Speed round. Favorite stadium or favorite place to play of all time?
Favorite place to play actually was that clip that we showed before at Harvard Stadium, which is I don't know if I'm going to offend anyone. It's a cool stadium. Like, passive as this like legendary old like beautiful work of art. It's like dumb, but had a lot of great games there. We won the Ivy League tournament one year there. Ryan was there for that one too, and then scored that goal there. So like every time I walk into that place to play a game, I'm like, it's go time. Like this is my spot.
Mitch, I called that game. The booth was on the roof of the stadium.
Oh my God. It probably like made of like, plywood, and
it was raining. Oh, it was a tent. It was raining. It was windy. We thought the tent was going to like blow over. Oh yeah.
That would have been great.
It was cool just in terms of, impartial during the game, but being able to see, Matt after we won, and really more important than seeing Matt was seeing, everybody's favorite boyhood idol, Doug Knight, who was the volunteer assistant, who's just the best.
What a treat to have him on staff.
Oh my God. What was he like as a volunteer?
Oh, he like, as you could imagine, like just so soft-spoken, like never asserted himself, but would wait until he had something like really meaningful to say. And then he would pull you aside and say like the most insightful thing you had heard in like 5 years. Mm-hmm. And then you would go your separate ways. And it would just be like, just gems like that.
Yeah.
How about top lacrosse memory, ultimate lacrosse memory? You hear that? Is that just me? Can you guys hear that?
This is Mitch was not lying. 6 o'clock. It's like the house is about to burn down. I think probably winning the MLL championship with Ohio. That was just like the year before was like such a crazy game with the rain delay, and like we gave up a huge lead, and we just had such a good group that it was like you couldn't believe that we weren't going to win a championship at some point. And then that game was like an awesome game. We were losing most of the game, and we're down like 10-7 in the third or fourth quarter, and we call a timeout, and the team brings in a huddle, and like the coaches are like kind of gonna say something, but Marcus just hops in the middle of the huddle and delivers like the greatest, like just authentic off the top of his head pump up speech I've ever heard in my life. And the whole team was just like ignited. And I think we rattled off like 7 goals in a row after that and just closed out the game. And it was just like that memory, like I get like goosebumps thinking about it.
That was at the Star in Frisco?
Yeah.
Favorite Trilogy camp staff memory?
Wow.
Staff? I think Millbrook's up there, but what was the one in Baltimore at the like equestrian school?
Fields, girls.
Old Fields.
Yep.
That was great. And then Ryan, this is an easy answer.
I'm giving you a layup. I'm just going.
Yeah, the whole kangaroo court situation where we would have. I was like pretty young at the time. I think I was like a freshman in high school, freshman in college, or something like that. And so I was one of the younger staffers, and just for like entertainment, we would do like this like courtroom setup where like the kids would like come in and like make grievances on, I forget what cases were they pleading. I don't know. This was just like,
it was for the raffle tickets. It was
Okay, yeah.
why they deserve more
why they
raffle.
were deserving of the raffle tickets. And Ryan was the honorary judge sitting in on the courtroom, but I was like,
Feels no AC. It was so hot in that.
oh
like,
yeah,
that little room.
it was your classic like trilogy, like make an incredible experience out of like just a summer hot like room with no AC and smelly kids and like. But I was like Ryan's, I don't know what my title was, but like the warden or something, and Ryan would go to me for rulings on what the kids were saying, and I would give like a thumbs up.
It was for like if they would submit evidence, and it'd be like whatever it's called. Like, do you allow it?
You're the bailiff, right? Were you the bailiff? Is that what your role was?
Yeah, I was basically a bailiff, but yeah, the "I'll allow it" line, that was a good one. I like people say that on television. I like chuckle just thinking back to that.
Favorite teammate that you've ever had?
Favorite teammate? Probably Marcus Holman, I think. He's just like so dependably, like just consistently awesome teammate. Like never says a negative thing, but isn't one of those like fake cheerleader guys. Like he's just like his mind is on the goal. I don't know.
No, I'm kidding. Not putting you on the spot there.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like he's got his mindset, like he thinks about it all the time, like who he wants to be in the locker room, like what his goals are for the day. And like you just like you can ask him a question and off the top of his head comes like the right thing to say, because that's just kind of how he's molded himself as like a locker room guy. Have you guys played with him? No. On USA? No?
I'm trying to think. I feel like I have on one team, but I'm not I'm old. There's a lot of years, a lot of hits to the head. A lot of hits to others' heads.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, Matt, I again, just in the name of my house not burning down, I can't say how much we appreciate you guys or you coming on and how fun it's been to get to know you and see your career develop from, it's funny, like Ryan knew you all the way back when. I kind of got to know you towards the beginning, and now seeing you continue on when we're both old and retired. So keep up the great work, and it's always a pleasure talking to you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on, and honestly, like it's so like truly enjoyable to like retell a lot of these stories, just because like Trilogy has meant so much to my lacrosse career. Just like in reliving like a lot of these, it's like these were like make or break points in like whether I was going to continue playing or just like become a better player or kind of like plateau. And Trilogy like always had like the imprint. Like Ryan, you were at that Ivy League championship game, which was like one of my biggest lacrosse memories. And like I don't know, it's a really cool group of people, and I'm certainly like glad to have been a part of it and still consider myself a part of it now.
We're just glad to see that doing things the right way is now becoming the same thing as your way.
Yeah.
Well said. That's the end, Earl. Thanks, Matt.
All right. See you guys.